Ethan had always trusted Mia. It wasn't just casual trust, the kind you have because you're supposed to. It was the kind built over long nights talking about their dreams, whispered promises after messy fights, and the comfort of knowing someone's hand would always be there to hold. He met her at a coffee shop 3 years ago, when he spilled his drink all over her laptop. Mortified, he offered to pay for the damages. She laughed it off and, somehow, that disaster turned into dinner, which turned into forever, or so he thought. The first signs were so small that he hated himself for even noticing them. A glance at her phone she didn't want him to see. Texts at midnight she said were just friends. The way she started getting dressed up for nights out she never used to care about. He chalked it up to his own insecurity at first. Mia was beautiful, funny, magnetic. Of course people would want to be around her. Of course she'd have friends he didn't know. But then came the nights she wouldn't come home until 3 in the morning. The excuses started stacking up: late work meetings, a friend's birthday, a girls' night that stretched into a girls' weekend. Ethan didn't want to be that guy, the jealous one, the one who smothered her freedom. So he swallowed it down, pretending he didn't feel her slipping away. Pretending he didn't see how differently she looked at him now, like he was a memory instead of a person. It wasn't until a random Thursday night that it all collapsed. She left her phone on the kitchen counter while she took a shower. It buzzed once. Then again. Then again. Ethan didn't mean to look, but the name flashing on the screen wasn't one he recognized. And the words under it, "I miss you already. Last night was incredible," made the room spin. He didn't need to read more. He didn't need to see the pictures they exchanged or the plans they made. His gut had known long before his eyes caught up. When she came back into the room, towel around her shoulders, smiling like nothing had happened, Ethan felt something inside him quietly break. He didn't shout. He didn't cry. He just stood there, phone in hand, and asked her who the message was from. The way her face fell, the way her whole body seemed to cave in, told him everything he needed to know. She tried to explain. She said it was a mistake, that it didn't mean anything, that she still loved him. But the words felt hollow, drifting between them like smoke. He left that night with nothing but his wallet and his keys, too tired to argue, too hurt to stay. And as he walked away from the apartment they'd once called home, he realized that sometimes love wasn't enough to keep two people together. Sometimes, the cracks were too deep, and no matter how much you wished otherwise, trust, once broken, couldn't be patched back together. The weeks after Ethan left were a blur. He moved into a small studio apartment across town, a place with peeling paint and a broken heater, but he didn't care. It was quiet. It was his. There were nights he stared at the ceiling until sunrise, wondering how everything had unraveled so fast, wondering if he should have fought harder, or maybe, if he should have seen it coming sooner. Mia tried reaching out at first. Texts. Calls. Long emails he never answered. She showed up once, standing outside his building in the rain, makeup running down her face, begging for a second chance. She said she was sorry. She said she didn't know why she did it. She said he was the best thing that had ever happened to her. But standing there, looking at her, all Ethan could think about was how far apart they already were. How the trust, once shattered, didn't just snap back into place because someone cried and said they regretted it. Love wasn't supposed to be a weapon you used when you were lonely. It wasn't supposed to be a lifeline you grabbed when your choices left you drowning. He told her he hoped she found what she was looking for. Then he turned and walked back inside, shutting the door gently behind him. Healing wasn't easy. There were days he hated her. Days he hated himself. Days he wondered if he'd ever be able to open up to someone again without waiting for the knife in the back. But slowly, the ache dulled. Slowly, the good memories stopped feeling like betrayals and started feeling like something else, a lesson, maybe. A reminder that even the deepest loves can fail, and even the kindest hearts can break. One evening, months later, Ethan sat at a different coffee shop, book in hand, when someone asked if they could share his table. He looked up, and this time, there was no spilled drink, no dramatic moment, just a quiet smile, a new beginning he didn't see coming. And for the first time in a long time, he smiled back, realizing that even after everything, life had a way of gently, stubbornly, moving forward. Mia stayed in the city for a while after Ethan left. She threw herself into work, into friends, into anything that could help her forget the hollow feeling gnawing at her. Some nights, she convinced herself she was fine. Other nights, the quiet was unbearable, the weight of her choices pressing down until she couldn't breathe. She tried dating again, but nothing fit. Every conversation felt thin, every laugh a little too forced. No one looked at her the way Ethan did, like she was something extraordinary even when she didn't feel like it. No one listened the way he used to, with that quiet patience that made her believe she was more than the mistakes she carried. She moved apartments eventually, chasing a fresh start. A smaller place, simpler, closer to the park she used to walk through with Ethan on lazy Sunday afternoons. Sometimes she caught herself passing the coffee shop where they first met. Sometimes she even went in, half hoping, half dreading she might see him there. But she never did. Time moved on in strange ways. Seasons blurred together. Friends got married. Some moved away. And Emma stayed, watching the life she thought she'd have slipped further out of reach. She made peace with it, eventually. Or something close enough to peace that it stopped keeping her up at night. One spring afternoon, years later, she was sitting on a bench by the river when she spotted him, Ethan, across the street, laughing with a woman holding a little girl's hand. He looked lighter. Happier. The weight he used to carry in his eyes was gone. Emma didn't call out to him. She didn't wave. She just watched for a few moments, heart aching with something she couldn't quite name, before standing up and walking away. Some stories didn't get a second chance. Some goodbyes were meant to be permanent. And even though regret would always hum quietly beneath her skin, Emma knew she had to keep walking. Because sometimes the hardest thing in the world was accepting that you were the villain in someone else's story, and learning how to live with it anyway. Years passed, and the sharp edges of Ethan's pain softened into something gentler, almost like old scars that only hurt when touched. Life didn't rush him, it unfolded slowly, patiently, like it knew he needed time. He eventually married again, but it wasn't some grand, cinematic love story like before. It was quieter, stronger, built not on sweeping promises, but on the steady rhythm of two people choosing each other every day. Her name was Claire, kind, stubborn, a little clumsy when she got excited about things. She knew about his past without him having to explain every broken piece. She didn't try to fix him. She just stayed. They bought a little house on the edge of town with a crooked fence and wildflowers growing along the back porch. Some nights, after putting their daughter to bed, Ethan would sit out there with Claire, sipping tea, talking about nothing important. He never took it for granted, the quiet, the trust, the feeling of being safe, finally, in someone's arms. Every now and then, a memory of MIA would drift in, her laugh, the way she used to dance in the kitchen, the way he used to believe they were forever. But it didn't hurt anymore. It felt almost like remembering another life, one he had to live to get here. If you'd told the version of Ethan who walked out of that apartment years ago that he would love again, that he would trust again, he wouldn't have believed you. He was too bruised back then, too hollowed out. But healing wasn't a moment, it was 1,000 tiny choices, made day after day, even when it hurt. And somehow, through all the wreckage and wrong turns, Ethan found his way home. Not to the place he thought he was going, but to somewhere better. Somewhere real.